Hello and welcome everybody to this wonderful new little game that I'm trying out. It is a demo of a game, in fact, and it is called Lovecraft. It is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and I auditioned for one of the characters that will be in this game upon its full release. So, let us get going, shall we? Remember, this is a beta. This is not a complete version of Lovecraft. We hope you enjoy it. That is a beautiful little thing. Good morning, child. I realize you must be confused. However, I'm afraid I lack the time to explain the situation. Your future is a mystery to us all, including me. But I believe in you. You will do well, child. Before I send you on your way, what do you wish to be called? Male name, female name, it doesn't matter. Gender is yeah, I can speak. Irrelevant. What is your name? Default name Taylor. Alright, well I'd like to be called Arsife, and good luck pronouncing that. To press enter? Yeah. Alright then, that shall be your name from here on out. Arsife. Travel safe, child. We will meet again when the time is right. It feels like I've been wandering these woods for years, yet not once have I seen the sun. Despite forests being places of flora and fauna, the world around me is devoid of both light and life. The only movement comes from the shadows. There's no wind in these woods. The darkness pulses like a heart. I'm not afraid, though. Instead, I feel nothing. I'm not sure where I'm going, and yet I know I must keep walking forward. My mindless persistence ultimately pays off when I reach a clearing. The moon is finally visible, the light a pale, almost pastel blue. The ethereal light shines down on 3 altars, etched with runes of different colours. Something bad happened here. This just looks like it's overgrown with moss, but somebody... Actually, I think that might just be decoration. I thought somebody clawed at it at first, but this is not looking good. To my right, the etchings run red with fresh blood. The altar, too, is stained with it. To my left, the altar is covered in moss. It looks like it rose from the ocean and was subsequently forgotten. In front of me, the runes glow with golden light, looped around the altar like chains. Beneath my feet, the shadows once more stretch out. The altars call to me. Which altar should I choose? Ooh. I can just choose none to... I mean, instinctively, I would go for the blood red altar because it does have a certain attractiveness to it, doesn't it? But I think the mossy green altar calls to me. There's something lonely about the green altar. I'm not sure exactly what draws me to it over the others. It's a relic of times past compared to the refined yellow or the macabre red. I crouch in front of it, gently brushing away some of the moss to look at the altar's runic inscriptions. I'm not sure how long I'm there, but I only notice the passage of time when I realize the moonlight seems to have dimmed. My trance is broken by the feeling of raindrops. I hold out my hand and look out to the sky. The sky isn't exactly cloudy, and yet it's suddenly pouring with rain. Ooh, is this like... would blood have come down if I touched the blood red altar? Ooh, that would be creepy. Also, I gotta say, I love the art. It is beautifully drawn. It's very atmospheric as well. It's beautiful, beautiful. Did I read? Well, probably not. Maybe it wasn't all that sudden. I'm truly uncertain as to how long I've been standing there. It could have been days. That said, I don't have a long time to try and figure it out. I hear a sound, one I do not recognize nor understand. By the time I realize what's causing it, it's far too late to avoid it, though perhaps I never stood a chance in the first place. Ooh. I see the massive flood of rainwater for only a second before it crashes down over me. It's heavy against my body as it slams into me. It's disorienting as I tumble over myself from sheer force of its impact. But more than anything, it's deathly cold. The freezing water grips my soul as much as my body. I hold my breath until I can no more. As the liquid fills my lungs, I begin to hear things. Voices, screams, desperate cries, hysterical laughter, and snarls that could barely be called human. My vision begins to fade to black, and my consciousness is consumed. I swear I see, in the last flicker of light, something large in the distance, moving directly at me. Then it blinks out. Or did I dream that? Ah, goddamn. My eyes open sharply as the buzzing of my alarm clock pulls me from my strange dream. It's not the first time I've had that dream, but it has been a few months. If I know one thing for sure, though, it's that my alarm clock could drive me insane for far easier than any mind-breaking hell beast possibly could. I understand that. I swear, that sound should be illegal. I like this game. It works though, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. I push myself out of bed and stretch slightly before slamming my head on the off button of the clock. Thank God it's over. Man, I wish I could draw like this. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I stayed up way too late last night, so it takes some will not to grab it and hurl it out the window. I begin to make my way down the hall, towards the kitchen. I suppose if I wanted, I could just go back to sleep. I don't have anywhere to be. I don't work at the moment, and I don't attend school. I mean, I did once. But after an incident involving shadow people resulted in some weird rumors, I decided to drop out. I suppose one could assume that my life would be boring, given I don't attend classes, work, or really leave the house much. I would say yes, life is pretty boring, but not for the reasons a person would naturally think. Those shadow people are far from a one-off occurrence in my life, but they're pretty mild compared to other things I've seen. Strange creatures that shouldn't exist. Odd occurrences that shouldn't be possible, sometimes resulting in deaths. Oh boy. Oh boy. Unusual visions and unnatural sounds. I used to think they were hallucinations, but none of the pills worked. So instead, I just kind of accepted it. I can't remember how long ago that was, since I don't celebrate my birthday and I easily lose track of time. But honestly, I've grown a bit bored by it. Beautiful! Wow! What's that on the fridge? Rin is G. Okay. Shopping list: eggs, milk, chicken, and tomatoes have been bought. Beautiful. I'm pretty sure there are ghosts haunting my house, so to be polite, I bid them a good morning before I go to pour myself breakfast. Lovely. My response comes in the form of a chair tipping over. Grumpy. Excuse me. Grumpy today, I see. It's fine. I won't bother you too much. I'll be in the library for the most part. The library in the basement is by far my favourite place in this house, despite it being just as odd as anywhere else here. Rows and rows of bookshelves. I swear the library changes size and content every day. I haven't bought a single one personally. They came with the house. New books appear at random, old ones vanish. I'd ask why, but I gave up on answers long ago. Besides, I like reading the contents of these books. Sometimes they teach me things, but usually they're just as eclectic in genre as any library. Sometimes I even find things from other cultures. Books, encyclopedias, audiobooks, comics, manga, manhwa. I even found a DVD down there once. That said, the DVD was a copy of The Ring. I didn't chance watching it. It felt like a trap. It was gone the next day. There is one shelf that never really changes though. The complete works of H.P. Lovecraft is there, always. I check it every time I'm there, and it's never out of place. I've read every book on that shelf. It's weird. I wonder why such an unpleasant, racist man wrote so much about existential horror. But I relate to the weirdness some of these characters have experienced. I'd argue that perhaps I'm still sane, but truthfully, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I shouldn't read his complete works then. I mean, I was considering that. So maybe that's a bad idea. I mean, this protagonist apparently doesn't think it to have been healthy for them. After all, I did just say good morning to the poltergeist in my kitchen. This is lovely. Some could reasonably argue my sanity in court. At any rate, I ate my breakfast without incident. I don't bother picking up the chair that tipped. Ghosty will pick it up later, when they're feeling better. I put my dishes in the sink when I'm done. A shadow casts over the sink and the bowl disappears. It's probably in the dishwasher. Shadow person, probably. The one in the house is kind of a neat freak, from what I've gathered. We take turns cleaning the dishes. It's my turn today, but I guess they didn't feel like waiting. Thank you. I'll make it up to you. I hear no response, but I rarely do. I begin to head to the basement. As I'm leaving the kitchen, I hear the dishwasher turn on. So does that require electricity then? Wait, I think I need to... I don't know how well the audio is hearable. Let me just turn it on, up a little. There we go. Oh, damn, missed that. Can I go back? Oh yeah, the basement is dark and musty, but it's familiar. It smells like old wood and books. As usual, I begin to look through the shelves to find the unfamiliar. I skim through a few titles, but they all seem like they were here last time. I recognize them. I eventually find what looks like some newly published book. Those aren't particularly common here. It looks crisp and new. I pick it up to read. I go to kick back in a chair. I think I'm the only one brave enough to come down here, as aside from the library itself, nothing seems to reside here. The book isn't particularly original, but it is enjoyable. Teen lit isn't really my genre, but it's simpler than adult literature. Some days I prefer that. It's almost magical to me how emotional characters get over simple things like love or Hollywood-style satanic curses. You know, depends on the genre. Eventually I move to put it down, when something unusual catches my attention. The Lovecraft bookshelf. Something seems off. Leaving the book I'd been reading on the table in front of the chair, I pull myself to my feet. Ooh, fancy. Okay, I guess I'm not supposed to be able to read that. No. Don't think I can read that either. The Adventures of Rico. Oh god. Yeah. Okay. Strange. That purple book. I've never seen it before. Moving closer, I note that there's no writing on the spine. At least, no English writing. What is this? I reach out to take it. Almost immediately, I pull my hand away. It feels like it's almost shaking with uncontrollable energy. My touch only seems to inspire it, and it begins rattling ominously. Well, I'm either stupid or brave, but hey, I've seen enough weirdness. I pull the book off the shelf. Oh, these tentacles, that's probably... and this here, that looks like a... these Cthulhu references. Beautiful. It immediately bounces aggressively out of my hands and lands on the ground, opening up halfway. It flips a few pages and then... What in the world? Oh. The first thing that pops out the book. I think that's a really long purple strand of someone's hair. Following that, though, is a pale, small hand and arm. For a moment, the entity, whatever it might be, seems to be struggling to pull itself out of the book. What should I do? And more importantly, what am I willing to deal with today? I'm going to help the being out of the book, of course. Without thinking twice, I gently put a foot on the edge of the book to stabilize it. Then I grab the hand in mine and gently attempt to assist in pulling the being out of the pages. It seems almost surprised at being touched, but then the fingers curl around mine. With the book stabilized, the figure pulls itself up and out of the book. For all of the oddities that I've seen in my lifetime, she's still kind of a wonder. She's small, looking a bit like a child. Her hair, wild as it is vibrant purple and seems to grow out of her scalp that way. Oh, fancy. I wonder who she is. She has a patch over one eye, but the moment we lock eyes, I see shock in hers. Once she's free from the book, I sit her down on the ground. She seems almost dumbfounded. We have a bit of a staring contest for a while, before she cracks a devilish grin at me. Perfect! You're absolutely perfect! Thanks? The strange declaration is followed by her grabbing both of my hands, looking up at me with a wild eye. I'm suddenly getting a really weird, dark vibe from this girl. Who or what is she? Usually, these things are obvious. Not so much with this one. There's what seems to be a tail sticking out from under her skirt, except I think it's a tentacle. Oh, that! Nice. I guess that's new. I don't usually encounter tentacles. For obvious reasons, I consider this a good thing. She's giggling, and for a moment I think she's insane. She does have a lot of spiky teeth. But something about her expression is too calculated to be insanity. Are you sure about that? She looks perfectly insane to me, my lord. Then it's settled. We're going to kill my mum. Mrs.? Excuse me? Oh. The entire world seems to spark out. It's as if the world was a TV and the channel switched to consisted entirely of white noise. My mind hazes over. Instead of being loud, it's silent. Purely, absolutely silent. I feel like being here too long might genuinely drive me insane. Fortunately, it doesn't take long before a new world begins to materialize under my feet. Oh. The first thing that gets me is a surreal feeling of standing on what appears to be clouds. Gotta say, the music is beautiful. I love the music. It feels like I'm floating, but there's somehow still a sense of gravity keeping me rooted. And yet, the ground still feels like it could give away any second. The next thing I notice is the sky. There's stars twinkling and planets above, all in plain view of where I'm standing. It's beautiful, but it somehow feels unreal. Even the colors don't line up. The clouds are pastels, vibrant pink and purple, while space itself is a beautiful purple. I wish I could better explain what I'm seeing. It's surreal. It feels like I'm dreaming. Yet it somehow also feels foreboding. I don't belong here. Nothing from Earth belongs here. I don't know if anything belongs here, but I know there's something residing here. I can feel it. Purple Girl turns to me and grins. Her smile is deceptively innocent looking. Welcome to the dreamscape, you lucky thing, you! I can only think of one other of your kind who has been here before. Consider yourself most fortunate. I'm almost dizzy from how strange this place feels. It's very much out of my element. I'm used to weirdness, but I've never been to another realm or world before now. How fascinating. Hey, are you listening? Ah, pardon. Where are we? Who are you? The girl seems very displeased by my answer. I told you! This is the dreamscape! It's where elder gods like me live. Elder gods? I see. You sure are calm about this. It's only fractionally stranger than most of my life up until this point. She pouts, but is watching me with curious eyes. Well, Well, in that case... She slams her fist into her open horizontal palm. Insect, you shall call me Nyala. No. If you're going to call me Insect, I'm going to call you Brat. It briefly occurs to me that I'm talking back to something that calls herself an elder god. Yeah, that thought just came up to me, too. Either she's crazy, or she's right, and given how she pulled herself from the book and warped us into a new world, I'm leaning towards the latter. She pouts at me again. You truly aren't afraid. Not really, no. She stares at me for a very long while, and then a rather creepy grin splits her face. And what this creepy grin means we'll find out in the next episode of this wonderful little live stream YouTube recording mixture. Bye bye, YouTube viewers. I'll see you again another time.